We're getting more and more reveals as we get closer to the Talisman 5th edition. And I'm excited. 5 is a strong number. That's got some serious presence. As we get closer to the release date and we're getting confirmations, we're getting leaks, we're getting pictures and images, this is going to be, I've already cleared the whole summer. I've cleared the whole summer. It's just going to be nonstop Talisman. And anytime we get a new edition, I felt this way with 4th, but this is true of any board game, just to kind of framework that before we jump into Fate and the idea of Fate in the game. I'm very happy that they kept that mechanic on. I think it's a great idea for the game, but they've kind of taken it in an interesting way, and I wanted to cover some new tactica that I'm already thinking about. But anytime we get a new edition, I want to see a refresh of the artwork. I want to see maybe a refresh of the components. I want to see some rules adjustments. I won't say radically alter the game, but if a game has been through a life cycle of a couple of years, then what are some areas that maybe we can streamline or improve? But I also want to see some innovation. I want to see them try a few new things, not only in the rules, but also in the expansions. So I'm happy to see some of the changes in the rules to try and streamline the game, to try and make it play a little bit quicker, but also some innovations in terms of tactica. Now, Fate was introduced in the 4th edition revised. We had that short-lived 4th edition release from Black Library, and the 4th edition revised introduced the idea of Fate. Now, before we even get into Light Fate and Dark Fate and the Fey Fate, the core Fate mechanic is each character had a number of Fate tokens assigned, and there were some ways that you could refresh them or get a magic object with Fate. But essentially, you burn a Fate, you get a reroll. And in a D6-based system, that reroll is extremely powerful. Essentially, with Talisman, 1 is really bad. You're probably turned into a toad. 2, still bad, but okay, I wasn't toadified. 3, nothing happens. 4, nothing happens. 5 is good. 6 is really good. A D6 without an exploding mechanism. An exploding D6 is where if I roll a 6, I get to roll another D6. But if I'm confined to that D6, there's not enough spread there. And I'm going to get hit with something, even if it's a 1 in 6 chance. Or on the opposite side, if I'm not trying to minimize the loss, 1 in 6 chance, right? Roll a D6. I get a 1, I get turned into a toad. A 6, I get +1 craft or +1 strength or +1 something. Maybe I want to go for that 6. So the ability to reroll dice is huge. And you could use that reroll for combat. You can use that reroll on different charts for various different things. You burn a Fate token, you get a reroll. This now was really interesting because it helps you to control the random in the game. We're just kind of frameworking Fate. Let you control the random, but you had to overlay that tactica in that, depending if it's mid-game or end-game, I need to hold on to some Fate. So if I get hit with a random card or someone tries to toadify me, I can counter it. I can get that reroll. Tactically also, maybe you try to throw some lesser events and spells at players mid-game, get them to burn Fate so that when they go into endgame, they've got no reroll buffer. There's a lot of interesting tactica. So something as simple as get a reroll, that changed. Well, Fate is still in the game. And the Fate tokens look pretty cool. So Fate is still in the game. But now Fate has an interesting overlay in that, and I haven't seen the character cards yet. I don't know, from what I've seen, is Fate adjusted based on the character card? So some will have more, some will have less, or is it just like everyone gets X number of Fate tokens? Personally, I'd like to see characters starting with some more or some less because not all characters are equal. Some are more powerful mid-game, end-game, beginning game. Some are just really powerful throughout the entire game. Some are really strong, like they'll give you some starting strength above average, so you want to leverage that. I understand that adjustment, but I don't know if it's going to be straight across. Fate now, in addition to that reroll, lets you kind of move up to 6 by spending a Fate token. So now it's been incorporated into the movement phase where I can burn Fate. If I need to hit that target, right? Someone draws Pool of Life. And, well, Pool of Life, maybe I wouldn't burn a Fate. Pool of Life is where you put 4 life tokens. But if it's a Magic Stream, or maybe that's Magic Stream. Magic Stream, I think, is strength. Whatever the strength and craft ones are, as soon as that deploys, in previous versions of Talisman, everyone's trying to get over there and suck that up. Everyone's trying to farm that. So ideally, you can get there and bounce around back and forth, but it could take a bit because you're rolling a d6. You might overshoot or undershoot the space. Well, now if I can get over there and I can burn a fate and I can move up to 6 spaces, my choice, that's extremely interesting. That opens up a whole new tactica of allowing you to farm certain cards, or mid-game, end-game, when you want to avoid certain things or I need to make it onto a certain space, I now have some agency. The balance there, of course, is, do I have the fate token to do it? I can burn all my fate and now be in a place where I'm not able to do that. Or likewise, tactica, I can say, well, I want to hold on to some fate so I can use that mechanic, and then I miss out on other opportunities because I'm a little bit too conservative. So I'm very glad that the fate mechanic is still in the game. And in terms of tweaks, adjustments, and changes, I'm really excited that it opens up this new element and area to movement. The big question will be also tactica that I'm thinking about. Spell-wise, and I'll just leave it at this. I'm careful about spoilers because those of you new to the game are thinking about jumping in. I don't want to spoil it. If Magic sometimes offers an interrupt, so I'm just going to leave it this because already I'm thinking new tactica. We're going to be checking this out. You get to move, so you're looking. It's your turn. I'm not going to roll the d6 because I want to just move up and I want to get on the pool of life or the stream of fate, whatever it's going to be. Get that life, get that craft cone, that strength cone. You burn your fate. You start to move up to 4 spaces to go there. And when you get to the 3rd space, I hit you with a barrier card, or I hit you with a spell that stops you in place. How is that spell interaction going to work out? I'm curious for that because that's going to open up some very, very interesting interrupts.